If you ever wanted to build a personal brand and have an online presence, one of the biggest challenges is to film yourself. Sure, setting up your camera on a tripod and just pressing record is not that difficult. That is what I'm currently doing right now. But if you want to elevate your content and actually film stuff that, tell a story, then you will quickly realize that there is a limit to what you can do because you become the talent and the DP. If this video seems familiar to you, then yes, I did film a video about how to film yourself, but I realized that there was a lot I left out and I wanted to make a part 2. Now that video focused on the theory and practices of how to film yourself, and this video is just going to cover 6 unique ways you can film yourself. I want to mention that this whole video was just filmed at home in my own apartment. The other one I mainly filmed outside, so this video is going to be more for the introverted filmmakers. I get it, being outside in public. I've done this for a decade. I documented my life, I vlogged, all this stuff, but it still feels slightly uncomfortable. You get some stares, you feel you can't properly be yourself, and sometimes the shots with you in it just don't really turn out exactly how you planned it. Filming at home is so much more comfortable. You can take how many shots that you want, you can dress how you want, you can talk how you want, you can move things around, and you know that there's no one staring at you, so you just gain more confidence in that way, I think. And with further ado, let's get started. What's up everyone, my name is Mac. I'm a videographer and video editor who has been creating videos for a really long time. I recently started posting every week. A main focus that I do is to help educate and inspire people with what I know, my stories and experiences. The first one is the top-down shot, and you've probably seen a huge rise of this trend. This shot shoots straight down in an angle, what you're currently seeing right now, and a lot of people use it to documenting themselves, being on the computer, visualizing if they're drawing something or using their hands. This is a great way to get that flat overhead look. A lot of people use this technique because they want to document what they're currently doing. So that could be sitting on the computer and working. It could be to lay something on a flat surface. It could be to draw. It could be to use your hands or to showcase a product. It's a very cool technique because you are showing something in a very organized and clean way, but with a very unique look. Now, the downside of this shot is that in order to execute them, you typically need a C-stand, and unless you work on sets, it's probably something you don't have. I don't have one, however, there is another method you can use. For example, you can use a gorilla pod or what I have, which is called a mantis pod. It's basically a mini tripod that you can use either to wrap. If you have a gorilla pod, you can wrap the leg sort of around an item, or if you have a mantis pod like me, it has this little hook that I can basically hook around the door, which is how I'm filming this shot. The mantis pod that I'm using is from PGI Tech. I honestly bought it probably 2 years ago and I did not touch it until like late last year. And now I use it all the time. So if you don't have a C-stand, you do need a physical object to actually hook this mantis pod around. So in this case, it's hooked literally to the door. I love the look of this shot, but it's definitely one of the riskier shots because you need something strong and heavy to actually hook your camera around, and there is a risk of it falling and all sorts of things. So if you want to do this shot, I would definitely test it out with like maybe having pillows on the ground or have a second person to help you if it falls. I am still sort of holding my breath every time I do it. With that being said, my neck hurts. I need a break, so let's move on to the second shot. Next up, we have the bag or the drawer shot. Now this is basically when you take your camera and put it inside of something like a bag or a drawer and just record yourself opening it up. Just like that. This is a really cool shot because it serves as an opening shot to a scene because it is interactive. Another thing you can do is to place an item inside of the bag, and after you're opening up the bag, you take this item out, show it, and it just, I don't know, it's a really cool shot because it's like you're living inside of the bag and just seeing items coming out as you're getting them. One thing though, I would definitely test this out a couple of times because what I noticed is that every time I open this bag or a drawer, it actually moves the camera. And when the camera moves, the framing changes. So definitely be gentle, try it out, do it as slow as you can, or I guess just tape the camera to the bag. Another shot that is very similar to the shot that I just talked about is the fridge shot. This shot follows pretty much the exact same method as the bag shot, but instead of laying the camera down looking up, it is just on the shelf looking straight at me. This shot doesn't have to be in the fridge, it just needs to be somewhere where you can put the camera inside and open the door. For example, my laundry machine, I can put it inside there and open the door. It has sort of the same effect, except the door on my laundry machine is actually see-through, so there is no element of surprise. You are seeing me coming and opening the door versus having the camera in the fridge that is completely dark and then opening it up and then suddenly I'm here. It's not as powerful, but you can still get a really cool shot. Now, it is worth mentioning that all the shots that you just saw, they were filmed with a 14mm wide angle lens. So yeah, the wider the better, because that's how you're able to truly see the full effect of these shots. You can also use a fisheye lens. Be free to test it out. I would use the widest angle lens that I have, so the smallest focal length. This next shot is super simple, but it's something a lot of people forget about, and that is the mirror shot. It's basically just filming the subject in the mirror, reflecting back on me. It feels very personal. It feels like you're watching over me, like talking to myself, and it's a great technique to show emotions and facial expression. This next one might be basic, but it's something a lot of people sort of overlook, and that is the extreme close-up shots. For the longest time, I wasn't able to shoot shots like these, and it was mainly because I didn't have a macro lens. Each camera lens has something called minimum focal distance, referring to how close the camera can get and still be in focus. If you want to get shots like this without investing in a macro lens, which honestly I didn't want to, you can buy something called a diopter filter. It works like any filter, you just screw it on top of your lens and suddenly you can have macro shots. Because it's basically a macro shot, you need to be very aware of your own movements. Then we have one of the most famous shots in Hollywood, and that is the dolly shot. The dolly shot is basically just a moving shot, typically shot on wheels, where you're physically getting closer and closer. In theory, very simple, but if you don't actually have a dolly, this is challenging. I tried this shot probably like 20 times to get it right, and it was still all right. In theory, yes, a very simple shot. The problem though is that none of us really have a dolly. However, if you want to get this shot without having a dolly, you can use anything in theory on wheels. So if you have a skateboard, a lot of people do that. Or in my case, I don't have a skateboard, but I have this wagon right here, and then I also have a cart. So that one was going all from side to sides. If you want to get these shots by yourself, you can do it. It's sort of tricky, but basically what I did is, this is the handle on the wagon. I just took a rope, tied it, and then I just pull it like that. The challenge though is for you to not see that I'm actually pulling it in the video, so you need to frame it certain way. You need to like have it much higher up. But yeah, that was pretty much it. If you made it to this part of the video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. I am curious though, what are some techniques that you use to film yourself? Did I miss any? These are obviously very unique shots, so it's not the main shots I do to shoot myself. Normally, it's just like this. Setting up the camera on a tripod, pressing record. But if I want to create more of a short film narrative, just more of a bigger story, then it's cool to know about these unique shots and not limit myself. Becoming a YouTuber, creating content, you just gotta figure a way to still do it. As always, until next time, and peace.